Evan, welcome to Jacob Koutas Show, dude.
Thank you. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you for having me.
I love the merch.
No.
Love the championship gear. Big OKC guy. Tell me, let's just go back to the origin story of how you got into basketball and why specifically OKC. Let's do that first before we get into our politics.
A lot of people don't know this, but I was a Bulls fan back when Derrick was there and, MVP and all that. And I saw everyone in the city, living in, Chicago, everyone was a Bulls fan.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be different, I had to. So I was looking around the league. My dad actually went to the library, got a bunch of books on different teams, and was like, just go through it, just kind of read them all, just see, which one really sticks out to you. And the Thunder were playing that night. And I was like, you know what, I'll read that book, watch the game. They got killed. They lost by 25 to a bad team too. And they had 20 wins that year. And I just stuck with it. I was just like, you know what, that's going to be the team. No one else is really a fan of them. I can kind of, just root for them. And through all the hard times and Durant leaving and all those losing seasons, that was just the team that stuck with me. So
that's crazy. Who was on the team? Was it Westbrook's?
That was Westbrook. Yeah, it was
early Westbrook.
Yeah, he got drafted actually to the Supersonics, and then that was the year that we changed. So he never played, but he was technically drafted there. And it was his rookie year. It was Durant's second year.
Okay.
So it was about
2009, 10?
10.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Yeah.
I think when did they go from Sonics to OKC?
2008.
Okay.
So
yeah, July 2008.
Yeah.
So they got drafted that year in the summer, and then he basically went to OKC from there.
And I kept that in my back pocket because I think Rose won MVP in 2000.
I thought it was 2008.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, let's check that out. Derrick Rose MVP year. 2010.
Yeah.
So the year after.
Yeah.
So the year after. So that's fine. But all right, so we're gonna dive into some crazy good topics here from the NBA. Number one being the tanking epidemic in the NBA. So essentially, teams, for people who don't know, the NBA drafting order essentially matters based off of your position in the league and how you do in the league. So if you're lower on the table, essentially you get a higher draft pick. Am I hitting the nail on the head there? And then teams are essentially taking that and using that as a tool towards the end of the season to actually get a better draft pick, to get some players. And if you get the first pick overall, you can get some pretty nasty college players, even European players. I mean, Cooper Flagg is an unreal player as well. But what's the main issue of this, and how does the NBA or people solve this, or what do we think about it?
So teams are kind of starting the year with fully healthy rosters. They're seeing what they can do, seeing where they kind of, what they can do healthy and with everyone available. If that doesn't work, they're starting to shut players down. I mean, and this has been going on for 5 to 7 years, I would say, has really been the focal point of, people complaining about it.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to find a way to, are these real injuries or are they just trying to get better draft picks? And most of the time, they're just trying to get better draft picks. I mean, every team wants, the top, because the top 4 teams that were the worst, in the league last year, have the same odds of getting one. So
interesting.
I want to say it's all around 12.5, 12.7%.
Yeah, I think you just get a lottery pick.
They get a lottery pick. But a lot of these players want to play. I mean, some of these players, they do want to play, but everything comes from, the GM and owner saying, no, we got to plan for the future rather than right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's becoming a problem. A lot of these players are sitting out. The Jazz are kind of under scrutiny right now because they're not playing anyone, or their best players, Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr., are playing the first 3 quarters and then not playing at all in the fourth.
So they're just completely
So
their rationale is, hey, this is the load management or injury issue.
Yeah, so they're saying it's a minute restriction, but they're playing heavy minutes in the first 3 quarters, managing it out through 4 quarters where they can play, all 4 quarters of a game.
Right.
But the NBA is making some changes. Teams can't pick in the top 4 in consecutive years. So if you get a top pick, like let's just say the Mavericks last year, for example, they can't pick earlier than 5.
Wow. So even if you do get a top 4 pick, you can't get one next year no matter what. No matter how bad your season is.
No matter how bad a season
even
is.
if you're that bad of a team.
Yeah.
Even if you're not even trying to tank, you're just that bad.
Yep.
You still can't get. That's interesting.
Well, because a lot of people, funny enough, wanted to blame the Thunder for that. We shut down Shai Gilgeous-Alexander a couple of years when we were tanking. Mm-hmm. And Al Horford, who's, later in his career, but we never had top 4 picks. We have more players that were undrafted or drafted in the second round on our championship team last year than were a lottery pick. But you got other teams like Rockets and Spurs. The Rockets have drafted in the top 4 straight years. Yeah. Spurs just got Wemby. They got Castle. They got Harper. Some teams are just handed this luck.
Yeah.
But they see it as a problem, for small market teams. Like, for example, another change is if you make a conference finals, whether it's the East or West, mm-hmm. you can't draft in the top 4, I think they said. So like the Pacers, they lost Halliburton in Game 7. They're like, well, we'll just throw this year away.
Because they wouldn't get to the conference final.
Right.
Which means that they wouldn't be uneligible for the top 4 picks. Right. They'd be able to actually get someone in the top 4.
So if it started this draft, they can't pick in the top 4, even though they have, I want to say they have like the second or third worst record in the league.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they're really trying to cut back on, teams that are really fighting for this number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Boston, for example. They lost Tatum,
right.
Achilles. They're second in the East. They didn't go through any of this, well, we're going to shut down Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown's like, I'm playing. He's playing at an MVP caliber level right now.
Yeah, you want the players to step up.
Right.
That's kind of what you want.
They traded for Vucevic from Chicago. They made moves to get better rather than making moves to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look at it, in a different variety of ways, but they're doing it right. They got home court advantage if the playoffs started today.
I would almost say that OKC did something similar with the McCain trade.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to just sit there and be like, okay, well, my star player gets injured, then, okay, let's just tank it. It should be like, no, let's see what tools we can bring in to keep this sustainability going.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of good NBA players out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these players, this is their career on their lines. This is their dreams. So let's say, I'll just do the Jazz, for example, like, they got Ace Bailey, Bryce Sensabaugh. They got a couple players that are winning them games when they're not supposed to. They're trying to get contracts on other teams or, an extension. This is their passion. This is their career. Like, so when teams do that, they're not only messing with like, trying to better their odds, but they're also messing with these players' careers, which isn't, how it should be.
Yeah, it should be let the best players play. Let them try to win every single game in, game out. And like, go try to win. I feel like it's almost needs an introduction of like an incentive of every game you win. You get a certain amount of money. Like, I feel like that would make it a lot more competitive.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm a big soccer fan, as you know. And in the Premier League and in other leagues, the more higher up you go on the chart, the more money your team actually gets for like payroll. So like they pay out based off of your performance of that year, no matter what. There's not really a draft in soccer, like the NBA or the NFL, because it's just not really structured that way. But say if you win first place, you get the most amount of money for your team. So it's like if you go in like the lower half of the league, the bottom half of the league, you're performing the worst, you actually end up losing revenue and losing money. And then, the leadership executives, they all essentially are bringing in less money, which is not good for the business.
Yeah.
And eventually, you think about it and you're like, okay, well, we're a business. We need to make money. So in order to make money, you have to be better and better and better and better. So I could see like tanking going away if that was an incentive, right? Because, I mean, the lottery picks, yeah, they could help your team out. But at the same time, like if you bring in more revenue, you could pay players more and therefore bring in a higher caliber player because you can pay them more money, Yeah,
is there a salary cap in soccer?
That's the one thing I don't think there is.
Okay.
Some leagues do. So the MLS does. But, like, some of the leagues in Europe don't. And that's why you see, like, big clubs have, like, really stay at the top all the time is because there's not really a huge salary cap.
Okay.
But the thing is that like there's clubs right now, like Tottenham, for instance, who does spend a lot of money on players and a lot of money on salaries, but they're not in the top half of the league. And there's teams in the top half of the league that spend half as much as they do. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of a game where it's like you want these players, obviously, that, you know, should be paid the highest. But at the same time, the game is still the game. You still have to win it. And sometimes those underdog teams win and get themselves in higher positions, even though the salary cap, you know, doesn't actually put them in a position to, like, be number one all the time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we got 5 businesses that put all their money in and pay all these players all these money. Well, if you have 5 teams doing that, they all can't be number one. So who's going to be number one, right?
Yeah.
Like, but we're not here to talk salary caps. But I do think that could be a way to propagate the NBA from stopping tanking, is give essentially a bonus or somewhat a reward of like placing 3rd instead of like 8th in your third conference, you know? That way you don't actually tank, you just bring in more money and you don't just get a lottery draft for being last place.
It's an idea, but then I feel like a lot of the teams would start to kind of round out the same every year. So if you give, you know, more money based on where you finish, like we got the 1 seed, this will be 3 years in a row. We would never go anywhere. Like it would just be us, you know, as long as we got, you know, our top 3 players, and we can just keep adding. So, you know, it's a tricky thing to figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not something that can be done in a couple weeks. That's why there's no way Adam Silver can get this done for this draft, because it's a big decision. Like this is like, once you make this, you can't go and then change it next year and be like, well, that didn't work. Because then how are those teams that got affected for that 1 year going to, you know, feel about it?
And how are you going to know that that team that got affected didn't work for them?
Right.
Or did work for them?
So it's something that they really have to think about, but I think it's a step in the right direction. There's something that has to be done.
Mm-hmm. I think the toughest part about all of this is I've always made this argument with multiple sports, NBA especially, NFL especially, is just like you said, you get the lowest scores, you lose the most amount of games, you get the highest draft pick. Like, I feel like it should be almost a natural progression of allowing players to play where they want to play and actually get playing time and trying to build up a team to win. So kind of what I mean by that is like, let the natural progression of a player, say they have unlimited salary cap, for instance. You can't put more than 5 guys on the court, you know? So if you have like all of your all-stars from the Olympics, you throw them on one team, there's only 5 guys that can play on the court at once. So if you have Halliburton sitting on the bench, you have all these other players sitting on the bench, you know, they're going to sit there and be like, I don't want to sit here on the bench behind these guys. Like, yeah, they're good, but like I want to play on my own team and build my own team and actually play, because that's the whole point. Like you said before, they're ruining their careers by not playing them. And the whole point of being an NBA player is to play to win and win championships, you know, all that jazz. But I feel like if you kind of let the cannon loose and just let it all play out, you get to a point where players would actually go on to their own teams to build their own team just so that they can get more playing time, actually play the game that they love, and then express the way they love the game and not just be sitting behind a guy because they can make $300,000 more a year versus $300,000 less, but play as the number 1 starter and all-star of like a team that is not paying them all these kind of money.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think a lot of the bigger markets would thrive. You know, the best players are going to want to go to LA. You know, Clippers, Lakers, those teams would, you know, probably fill up fast. Knicks. I think players will look at it geographically rather than, you know, kind of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
No one's going to want to go to OKC. No one's going to want to go, you know, to these smaller market teams, New Orleans, you know. Chicago they would finally be good. That'd be good for Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was what it would take, but
yeah,
you know, but
yeah, that is true. Geographically, I feel like it would make a lot of sense. And I've always made that debate too in like NBA and NFL markets. It's like, okay, if you could be an NFL player, but instead of like being an NFL player and living in like Minnesota, like imagine you can live in Miami as an NFL player.
Yeah.
Like which one would you rather take?
Right,
or you could take it to the extremes and be like, imagine Hawaii has a team and you could play for the team in Hawaii. Would you rather have your family live and play an NFL team in Hawaii or like Northern Canada?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's different, but I feel like the NBA's had a good spot regarding to star players being on different teams.
Yeah.
The big three was, a big part of the game probably until Durant left Golden State, but even LeBron in Miami and then Durant with the Warriors, everyone wanted a big three.
Yeah.
Thunder tried to do it with Westbrook, George, and Carmelo Anthony. Every team, you had to have three superstars to compete. Now it's kind of different. You have a head of the snake. A lot of these teams that have won, OKC with Shea, Denver with Jokic, Boston with Tatum. You have a head of the snake, and then you have, kind of your Robin, Jamal Murray, Jalen Williams, Jaylen Brown. And then you have to have role players. You got to have a player that can come off a bench and swing a game in a playoff series. Mm-hmm. Whether that's, hitting a couple threes, playing defense. You got to have
your corner three guy or 15-point guy or like 10 rebound guy off the bench.
One game can swing a series. You got to have, so a lot of these teams are, adding depth because that's kind of more important than having that third superstar. Denver had to make some moves this offseason. They got, Cam Johnson, Tim Hardaway Jr., Bruce Brown back because they fell short last year off the bench, and that's what a lot of these teams are doing. But there's no Durant, Curry, LeBron teaming up anymore. Like that was
that was an insane era. The whole Miami Heat era.
So,
we're not gonna win one, not two, not three.
Yeah, so that big three is kind of done, which I think is good for the sport. But some teams still try to get those superstars because they think that's what's going to do it. I think Cleveland's going to go after LeBron for his last year next year and try to pair him with James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. That's going to be their big three. That's the LeBron's homecoming, gifts, farewell tour, and they're going to try to run it. But you got to have players that can play, 1 through 8 in a playoff series. Usually play about 8 players, but some of these teams can go 10 deep, 11 deep. So,
and you bring different personalities, different changes to the game, so that way the defenders can't actually read it all the time.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think it's interesting to see the development of the game so far. I think players like Joker, for instance, I think having just key role players around him make his game so much better. You don't need an all-star around him, to be honest.
Well, he hasn't had one before this year. Jamal Murray was his first one.
I feel like, and I feel like even if you did have an all-star, it would ruin their gameplay because the all-star would want the ball and try to make plays when the Joker's like, all right, well, just run a regular offense. We'll distribute to everybody.
Yeah. The way he passes and reads defenses, you can go to Denver tonight and play in a game for Denver and you'd score 12 points from the corner. He finds people when they don't think they're open that are open, and he kind of sees it beforehand. So that was a big thing for them. They got to find players that can shoot the corner three, play defense, and he can do the rest. I mean,
he's so crazy good player. He's a crazy good player. It was also interesting seeing the big three in Miami getting beat by Dirk. Like that was one where everyone was like, dude, how, what's going on here? And to get a little bit off topic, but that was one reason why I thought that LeBron would never be the GOAT.
That was a bad series loss.
Because you are 3 all-stars deep with some of the craziest all-stars of that era. With Dwayne Wade, you got yourself, and you're losing to this Jason Kidd, it's just the look wasn't great. I mean, Dirk played unreal. I mean, he's a legend. He literally kind of looks like his game is reflecting into Cooper Flag right now, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
But when LeBron lost that series, in my mind, I was like, I don't know if you can go back from that, from being called the GOAT anymore, because you had all the players, you had all the all-stars, you had all the tools to do it. You won the championship, with that corner three from Bosch back out to Allen. That whole scene was nuts.
Everyone knows that one.
Everyone knows that one. Bosch back out to Allen. Bang.
Yeah.
When half the stadium was empty because everyone left thinking that they weren't going to win it.
Yeah.
And then they can't get back in because they already left the stadium, which was so funny to me. But, it is what it is. But I think that was one of the reasons that he can't be called to GOAT, because even in the Big Three era, you get beat by, again, a Joker-like team where Dirk was kind of the Joker and around him was just a bunch of really, really good playmakers.
Everyone knew their role.
Yeah.
Everyone had one role to do. Dirk was the head, and they all followed him. And Dwayne Wade and LeBron kind of poked the wrong bear in that series. Mm-hmm. Dirk was coming down with the illness, and they're in the back locker room and fake coughing and making fun of him. And then in an interview, they're like coughing and saying, "Oh, I'm sick," like as a joke, because they think Dirk was making an excuse. And he showed them. He played through it, and that was kind of like, I think they were like, he's for real, and he was.
Yeah.
I mean, and that Mavericks run was one of the greatest, I would say, in NBA history.
Because it was like, who's going to take down the LeBron era?
Yeah.
Who's going to take it? They have everything. They're going to win it all the time. And then here you go.
Yeah.
The Dallas Mavericks coming in hot and just lights out.
Yeah.
That was very, very good basketball.
Yeah.
Very, very good basketball.
That was peak.
Yeah. So let's talk about NBA expansion. So as I know, and as you know, Las Vegas and Seattle are the two eyes for the next expansion teams in the NBA. Do you think that those two teams and locations are in need of an NBA team? And do you think that it would be good for the league to have an expansion on that?
Absolutely. I think both those two cities, Seattle for sure deserves a team back. They should be the first one to get a team back. And the Thunder don't claim any of the Supersonics, accolades or anything, like retired jerseys, anything like that. So we would just give them Seattle back. We're a whole different team. That's, I guess, our former team because they moved, but we rebranded right away. They can have Seattle back with no problem. And they need a team.
Would they be the same name?
Yeah, they would go right back to the Supersonics.
I think that'd be perfect.
It'd be great for the league.
I think they should keep the accolades as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They just give them everything back and let them have one. Vegas, I'm a Raiders fan. They can always use, a basketball team there. They kind of did the NBA Cup, the semifinals and the finals in Vegas during that, NBA Cup and season tournament. The crowds weren't really that great. I don't know if they have a huge basketball following there, but the Knights do good in hockey.
Yeah, the Knights do really well in hockey.
Unfortunately, the Raiders don't really do anything any year, so, they need another team there. The Aces do great in WNBA. Yeah. They just won last year. They've won, I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah, they do really well over there.
Yeah, so
I think Las Vegas, just the amount of money and revenue that comes through that place in and out every day, just the amount of wealth. Why would you not throw an NBA team there? And
they can for sure use one.
Yeah,
for sure.
Even if you bring big names from other teams to Las Vegas, people are going to go to the games just because they're already there, and they're going to be like, "Oh, dude, this guy's coming to town to play Las Vegas. Let's go check it out." You know, and you're going to build a decent fan base because, I mean, there's a lot of people that are living or moving to Las Vegas because of just it being Las Vegas.
And then how it kind of segues in is how we were just talking about how these teams are kind of evenly, distributed between superstars.
Mm-hmm.
I think in an expansion draft, you can only keep like 8 players from one team. So, the Thunder, for example, we play 11, 12 deep on any given night. 4 of those players are going to go to one of those teams.
Yeah.
So a lot of these teams have, 11 players that they like to play, but if you can only keep 8, these teams can come in and do good right away. This isn't going to be like, where they're taking 4 or 5 years of picks and, free agency to get good. I think they can come in and compete right away.
Yeah. I saw that in the NHL. I think it was the Winnipeg Jets, I believe. They came in and to the league relatively new, and everyone was like, "Oh, we'll see like how they do," and then they within a couple of years were just doing really well, playing against really good teams. So I totally see that. Yeah. I could see that happening for sure, especially like Las Vegas. Like if you're a pro athlete and you're living in Las Vegas, like it's not a bad gig. And then Seattle, I think the history behind Seattle and being a part of that legacy, I feel like they should go with like the legacy uniforms and the logo and like that would revive that city to be like, yo. And then there'd be tons of edits and clips of just like new versus old and just kind of reviving that whole city. and Seattle has some really good fans that are dedicated. Seattle Sounders in the MLS is actually a huge fan base, believe it or not. And they go crazy. They got crazy chants and everything, and tossing an NBA team in there will definitely.
How about 12th man with the Seahawks? They just won.
Yeah.
I mean, they're due for one. That needs to happen, as quickly as possible. But then you got to think those are two Western Conference teams.
Right.
So you're going to have to move, and it's going to be Minnesota.
Minnesota?
I think Minnesota's going to go to the East. They got a star player in Anthony Edwards. They want more stars in the East.
Mm-hmm.
Geographically, it makes sense. They're, by Chicago, Milwaukee, so
right.
They should,
How are they not on the East side?
So I think that makes the most sense, but
balancing out that, it's a good balancing act. What do you think about like tiers, like in terms of like divisions? Because I've made this argument a couple times at a couple different people, is that like, especially when Christian came on, we talked about how hockey kind of has like a huge developmental professional tiers. Do you think with the expansions of all of these teams that eventually that will get into 2 tiers of NBA like 1 and NBA 2?
No.
Never?
No, I don't think so. I think once this expansion happens, we won't see another one in our lifetime. It's going to be these 2 teams. These cities deserve it. I mean, you might have teams move, but you won't add any more after this. And it's hard to get in the NBA. I mean, there's only 2 rounds. It's not football where you got, 8, 9, 10 rounds. Like there's 30 teams, 2 rounds. There's 60 players drafted every year. That's it.
Yeah.
So there's not really an influx of players that are constantly coming up to make that happen. But
longevity of NBA careers is a lot longer than NFL too.
Yeah.
Like NFL is pretty in and out, I feel like.
Yeah.
Especially depending on the position. Like quarterback is obviously a little bit longer, but if you're playing any of those hitting positions,
well, even running back,
it's like
that's a dying position.
Well, it's like 4 to 7 years.
Yeah,
you're done.
I mean, Cam Scadaboo in New York is going in his second year. He might be done in 3.
Yeah, like he's just getting concussion after concussion.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's undiagnosed concussions that he's had that he's like, I'm fine, and then he answers the questions correctly, but like,
so
is he really good?
it's a major difference, but.
Yeah, I see, well, because you have the G League, which is a good intro to players that go into the NBA. I think that's a good, revenue to get people to go into the NBA. But I do feel like I'm a big fan of, like, promotion relegation. Big fan. I don't know if you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of it because, honestly, like, it makes these teams desperate for wins.
It does.
And you take that, like, lowest person that makes it on the lowest to give them the highest pick in the draft or an opportunity to get the highest pick in the draft. But then if you're the lowest, like, you getting kicked out, it, like, changes the whole ball game. And in my opinion, makes it super, like, competitive. I would always die on this hill for the NFL, especially because if you look at, like, say you had 2 tiers of NFL teams where, like, the bottom half was, say, like, smaller teams in the area or whatever, but, like, only the bottom one, the worst league in the NFL, switched with someone in the second league. That worst team in the NFL, say they were tied with another team, and they're going against, say, a championship caliber team in, like, the last 2 weeks or week or two, they're going to literally, like, try to kill the other team with, like, their plays. They could care less about, like, if they're going to the playoffs and that they're trying to win the championship because they're trying to fight for the fact that they're not trying to get kicked out of the league.
Yeah.
And I feel like that competition would be such a fun game to watch because you'd have a team that needs to win. It's essentially a need-to-win game. And then as a fan, when you're watching, like, a need-to-win game, the stakes being higher always amps up the play, always amps up, everything. That's why playoff football, playoff hockey, playoff almost anything in America has always been like, holy crap, game 7, like, it's all on the line.
Yeah.
And promotion relegation basically turns a regular season game into game 7, in my opinion, which I think would be sick.
I like the idea. I just don't think there's enough teams that would come up and take those spots.
Yeah.
So that I think that's a major issue, but
I think the biggest issue also is, like, you have so many locations, and, you know, you always talk about revenue and money in big cities, and what happens is, like, what would happen most likely is that the teams that would be promoted and the teams that would be relegated would typically be big cities getting promoted. If you had someone create a team in, you know, South Chicago or West Chicago or whatever, that team in, like, the lower division of the NBA would then pay their players enough to get into the first division, and then who would be losing, that would lose their spot, would probably be a smaller city team that just can't compete with that monetary value.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to, like, the salary cap thing.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the expansions play out. I do think that Seattle is 100% needing of that NBA team. Do they do both teams in 1 year, though?
Yeah, just add them both.
Add them both?
Add them both.
And then you move over Minnesota to East?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like adding 2 teams would be a lot, though, in 1 year.
They can get it done.
They can get it done?
They can get it done.
Adam Silver's got it?
Yeah.
But
I say the biggest reason, like I said, is just because of the players that you can protect. So you don't want to have to protect 8 players, and then let's say the Supersonics come in first, and then a team loses 2 players to them, and then you kind of build that back up, and then a year later you lose another 2 players. So you'd rather all happen at once for all these other teams that are protecting their players rather than kind of dividing it into 2 years.
So when you add the team, how do they draft the players?
So
trade?
Every team has to protect 8, and whoever you don't protect, that team can sign them.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you had, like, 10 truly, really, really good players.
Which the Thunder do. We play 11, 12 deep.
Yeah.
Some of these players are going to go.
I mean, they're going to be like, I want to go play as a star on Seattle.
You know, some of these players that are hidden behind some of these great players are really going to, you know, this is a good opportunity for them, as much as, you know, you hate to see them go, but, you know, this could be like their career boost that they needed.
Yeah. But do they get the decision themselves to move, or do they get told that they move? How does that work? Like, does the organization trade them, or
No, it's not a trade. So they'll just be like...
It's just a straight acquisition?
Yeah. Their GM, whoever they assign to be their GM, let's say the Sonics, for example, will call, you know...
The Thunder organization, be like, hey, we're going to sign this guy.
Yeah, we saw that this player wasn't in your top 8 protected. You know, we're going to take him. We're going to take this guy. We're going to take that guy.
And there's no player decision at all.
No.
That's quite unfortunate.
You can trade back for them. You know, the Thunder have 1 million first-round picks. If we don't want, you know, one of these players to go, you'd be like, well, we'll give you this for them.
Yeah.
Don't take them, but...
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So so you have top 8 players of all teams, and then after that, they can just acquire any player on any roster.
Fill out the roster, yeah. I mean, they still have a cap, so you're getting the contract that this team signed them to. So some of these players on bad contracts, you know, that I'm just going to say Terry Rozier, for example, in Miami. He's on, you know, if this happened this year, it says 1 year deal. He's making $23 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
Miami's probably not going to keep him because he's not playing and he's on an awful contract. But that team, even though he's a decent player, isn't going to take him because of that contract. So contract, you know, kind of matters too. But
interesting. I just think it's weird that, like, you basically just, like, no player choice at all, whether you stay or leave. It's just all organization based.
Yeah,
I feel like that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, not to go back to soccer again, but soccer is a little bit different because they have both the managerial perspective of, like, the high top level execs, but they also have, like, the player agreements. And, like, so players could completely deny that they want to move, which is, like, worlds difference than the NBA of, like, hey, just let you know you left.
Yeah.
Just let you know you're gone. Pack your bags. It's like,
yeah,
that's crazy. That's just nuts to me.
Well, when we traded for Jaren McCain, when he came from the Sixers, he was on the team bus getting ready to go to the airport for a road trip. Daryl Morey called him off the GM. He's like, get off the bus. Like, you're not on the team anymore. You're going to Oklahoma City. Sam Presti, our GM, flew him out on a private jet to OKC, met him at the airport, brought him back in.
That's wild.
He was getting ready to go on a road trip with Philly. And, all his teammates are like, why are you getting off the bus? There's no warning. There's nothing.
There's nothing.
If players request a trade, you can kind of expect it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if, it's kind of months or weeks in the making, you kind of, you get your family up out of there first and, move. But
I just feel like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like that it's just so instant. There's no conversations at all. I feel like that's one of the very bad parts about like trading in the NFL and NBA is just like no warning, no nothing. Just, hey, get off the bus. You're going to OKC.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Okay,
yeah.
I just, my family, we just bought a house like 20 days ago. This conversation never was brought up. Like, yeah. That's the one part about the NBA and the NFL and all these like just exec run businesses that I'm just like, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Because there's not even like a player decision or like a player notification or anything. It's just, boom, you're gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. That's nuts.
Now, some of these organizations, Thunder, for example, I know San Antonio, they'll do right by their players. So, we'll take a little bit less to send you where you want to go.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the most that these teams will do, but they're not. You rarely get to pick where you want to go, and you hardly get to know months in advance, to kind of set up for it. But
it kind of reminds me of Moneyball, to be honest.
Yeah.
Where like they just like they have that whole scene where it's like you got to tell the player that he's like gone.
Yeah.
And he's like, how you gonna tell me? And he's like, well, you're out of here. He'd be like, but I just moved. I just did this. I just did this. I just did this. And then it's like you got to just kind of cold cut, give it to him.
Well, how about this one? Max Christie?
Yeah.
He got traded for Luka.
Yeah.
No one knew that one was coming.
No one.
His brother just got drafted to the Clippers, so they were in the same city. Life is good. He's, 3-and-D player. He's doing his thing.
LA Laker, LA Clipper.
Yeah, they get Luka.
The craziest trade of all NBA.
Happened at like 11 o'clock at night. I called all my friends. I'm like, did that get hacked? Like, there's no way.
There's no way ESPN just posted that.
His
no way.
His name's going to be remembered forever, whether it's on the court. He's in a Luka Doncic trade that no one thought was going to happen.
Yeah, one of the craziest blockbuster trades ever.
But I hardly doubt he knew that was going to happen.
No chance.
He had to just go to Dallas. And you got a fan base that's booing and, just so angry that they traded. That's a hard situation to just go in and, like, be yourself. And I felt bad for him in that aspect. Because, they were Luka or die.
Yeah, right. They were.
They had, like, a memorial outside, like, the stadium when that happened. Like, so, but, he just had to get up and go, and his brother just got there. So, but they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't.
It's wild. And I think for him, luckily, the focus is more on AD. Just because, like, there's going to be scrutiny in almost every decision, every play you make. And just the quote being right after, well, Luka wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Or, like, Luka would have scored that or whatnot. And luckily for Max, it could have been, well, now the focus is on AD because AD's, the bigger profile here. But now AD's gone, I believe, right?
Yeah, they traded for 29 games of him. He played 29 games as a Maverick.
Yeah.
That's it. You traded away someone that, is going to be an all-star, could be a champion, multi-time MVP, and they traded for 29 games of Anthony Davis?
Wild.
I think, going back to the lottery, I think they did get a little lucky with Cooper Flagg because of that trade.
Yeah. I think if they don't have Cooper Flagg right now, that whole fan base is like, what are we doing?
And they had to give him Cooper.
What are we doing?
They had to. So, but, sometimes it's good for the players. Personally, I think he's playing better as a Maverick than a Laker.
Cooper?
Or Max.
Max? Yeah.
His game can expand more. You're not behind LeBron, and, you know, he's shooting like 42 to 43% from three.
Yeah.
That's way above the league average.
Yeah.
He's
doing really well right now.
Yeah. He could shoot the ball a little bit more. I think he needs to kind of,
He talked about that in interviews too.
Yeah.
Because he talked kind of like, like, yeah, I'm doing well. He's just like, I gotta be more aggressive. I gotta be more aggressive. He's a really good like teammate.
Yeah, 100%. But he's not hiding behind anyone anymore.
Right.
Like they traded for him. Like go use that. You could play with Cooper Flag. They have a couple underrated players in like Najee Marshall and guys off the bench, but it's really just
and Kyrie's out. So.
Yeah. Lively's been out, their center, so go take advantage of this opportunity. I think he got ruled out yesterday with like an ankle injury or something like that, but this is his time. I mean, he can get a bag whenever his contract's up because he can put up these numbers now and kind of set up for his future. So sometimes
and
it does
also I
help.
believe Mavericks ruled him as a non-touch player.
I wouldn't disagree.
Yeah.
I think in that team.
I mean, think about he's what 21, 22. Yeah. You got Cooper who's 18. I mean, you just put these guys together and build chemistry over years. Like sometimes, people talk about, oh, well, you don't want to do that because you want to win now. But like, I mean, this year developing Cooper Flag to be a stud, and then even next year looking at like being a contender. Like you could bring in a player or two, just get healthy essentially. If you got Kyrie healthy, trading off with Max Christie. Like you could do some damage and win some key games, get yourself to the playoffs, and then just try to make a run.
They're in a weird spot. They're kind of the whole Kyrie injury kind of obviously took this year away from them, but Klay Thompson's kind of on the back half of his career, so it's really just Cooper. They're just here's the keys to the franchise. Like do something this year, show us what you got, and that's what he's doing. And I feel like a lot of other players on the team should start doing that as well.
And I feel like the behind the scenes of like Kyrie being a really good mentor for Cooper has definitely been very beneficial. Not that he's beneficial from being injured, but Kyrie helping out Cooper all the time now is one of the benefits of him being injured that you didn't think would happen would be him just mentoring him and getting him ready for being that all-star that you need him to be to make a run.
Yeah, like even just practices, flights. You get to pick apart Kyrie Irving's brain. You're going to get better. Yeah, you're going to.
Like that dude is insane.
Yeah,
Uncle Drew, man, dude. It's like
he's different.
He's different gravy, as they say.
Yeah.
I mean, even when the Uncle Drew thing came out originally, I was like, all right, this is sick. And the person to do it is 100% Kyrie Irving. Yeah. Like, you can't see anybody else being the head of that because Kyrie is he's just so silky.
Yeah.
He just has that he's the one who, like, brings that street ball to the NBA of, like, what actual street ball you think looks like into the NBA, and then he does it so well that it just like, oh
yeah.
I even saw a clip of him against Wemby, and it's like when you realize how good Kyrie is, and you see this Wemby's just,
he's the All-Star game,
yeah. And then Wemby's huge, and you just see Kyrie, and he just takes to him, fakes it, like pulls up, and then like comes underneath, and then like throws it up high enough so that Wemby can't touch it and block it. And then it just goes and just drips right in. You're just like...
Yeah. He plays angles extremely well. I would say he's one of the best in the league at playing angles, but...
Yeah. I mean, and then when you can learn from him as Cooper Flag, like, you're not going to sit there and let that knowledge walk away from you. You're going to sit there on planes, talk about moves, talk about angles, talk about stories, talk about, how to interact, how to, do almost anything as an NBA player, grow that knowledge, be a better player. And I think they got so lucky with Cooper Flag. I think he's going to be an absolute all-star going forward.
I think so.
Speaking of, let's talk about the all-star game. So there was a little bit of criticism over the lackluster play, which is almost typical now for all all-star games. And going to the NHL also, NHL swapped their all-star game for the Four Nations Cup. Unreal. I don't know if you saw that at all. I mean, we got people hyped about it. We got, the Canada-USA 5 fights within like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Absolutely nuts. So they did a little format change, and now it's USA versus World. And it kind of worked, but is this enough to bring enough eyeballs to the All-Star weekend?
the All-Star Weekend's never going to be the same as it once was. And I'm talking about the All-Star Weekend as a whole, not just the All-Star Game.
Mm-hmm.
Dunk contest, that's pretty much out the door. I mean, there's no stars in it. You got players that are, 15 off the bench, G League players. There's only so much you can do with the ball in a hoop. I mean, everything that these guys do, you pretty much have seen it before from someone or somewhere. The creativity's dying because there's just not a lot of options. 3-point contest, you got to start putting the best 3-point shooters in the league in the contest. I mean, every year it should be Dame, Curry, those type of players.
I think Max Christie almost should have went there this year too.
There's a lot of players that, I think got snubbed from it for certain players.
I don't know how Curry isn't in it almost every year.
Because no one else would win. I mean, him and Dame would be the final two.
But that's the thing, though, is that, dethrone him. Be the guy that beats Steph Curry.
There's just some things that people won't be, get beat at, and that's one of them. He won't.
And the thing is, with that, though, okay, make him the 10-time 3-point contest champion. Yeah. Make him the 10-time 3-point contest. Make it. I want that, because then it's is this the year? Is this the year Steph Curry is going to get dethroned by an NBA player?
Yeah, they need the best players in that, challenge every year.
Right. And I think that
they don't do that.
That's why people don't watch it.
No.
Why would I want to watch some random Joe Schmo or a G Leaguer do a dunk contest, right? Why would I want someone other than Steph Curry to do 3-point contest?
You don't. They want to keep adding players, and I get it. Give them an experience at the All-Star Weekend, but if they want to drive ratings, there's some great dunkers in the league. You put Anthony Edwards, John Morant, Zion Williamson in a dunk contest, it's going to draw some views. They can get just off the names of the players. They're not going to do anything crazy. You don't want Anthony Edwards going up and popping an Achilles or anything off a dunk.
Right.
But you have big name players in the dunk contest. Even if they just do 50% of what these players are doing, people are going to watch it and enjoy it more because it's the name on the back of the jersey.
Right.
Same thing with the 3-point contest. Put the best players in it. The All-Star Game, the World and USA was an interesting take. I know you said hockey did it, but I quite didn't understand it fully. I didn't watch the game, to be honest with you, but I know Shea didn't play. He was injured. But then, his replacement, I guess, was Sengun that was on the World, but Giannis didn't play, and his replacement was De'Aaron Fox, who played on the World team, or on the USA team. So how is a World player getting injured, but his replacement is going to the World team? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And there's a USA player, yeah.
So that didn't make any sense. And I know, I guess the rosters was already, because they had 2 USA teams versus 1 World, but I'll tell you, if World was healthy, they're killing USA. You can combine both those USA teams in the World would still win in a real basketball game. But Jokic and Luka, they don't take that game serious. They're just kind of messing around and having fun. But in a real world where those are competitive games, the World would wipe the floor.
So how do you make it competitive? How do you make that game competitive? How do you make the All-Star Game competitive?
I'm actually on the rare side where I don't want it to be overly competitive. I don't want to see any. I mean, those are the best players in the league. Those are the faces of the league. I know it's only one game, but if one of those players goes down, that it's just going to stop it immediately. And why waste that 1 year where one of those players goes down to make it competitive? I thought it was decent enough where it was a competitive game where they were trying towards the end, and I think they did that a couple of years ago when it was, still East versus West, or it was when LeBron and Giannis were drafting teams, but they did that target score.
Yeah, where you your target score, and then once you start the fourth quarter, there's a certain amount of time left, and then that's your score, and then it was offset. So it's one team started at 120 and one team started at 100, but that was 0-0. So if you wanted to beat each other, you had to I don't understand why they didn't just go back to 0-0.
I think that's what that one worked. I mean, these players obviously
there was also an incentive behind it though. So if you won the game, you got money for your own charity that you choose. So they were fighting for their own charities. But so there was actually money involved.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
I mean, the target score, I watched that one. That one was great. One on a free throw from Anthony Davis, I think. But
it's better than...
Those players tried in that game. And
Yeah.
now they're not going, 100%. But
Only in that last quarter, though,
Yeah,
which kind of what you want,
Yeah, you can get 75, 80% of these players. I think the whole league in general would take that. I don't think there's ever a way where these players are going to go 100%. I just can't. I can't see it. As much as, I want to.
Right.
I want to see the, 10 best players on each side, go at it.
And that's kind of what the whole point of the All-Star game was. That's the original aspect, was like, I want to see the best players of all of the teams of the East and all the teams of the West go at each other.
Yeah.
That was the original intent. I feel like if they almost shortened the game and made it like monetary, they could work. Yeah. So like instead of it being a full 12-minute quarter game each quarter, like make it like 6-minute quarters or 5-minute quarters, and then like, make the game a lot shorter so that there's not a lot of fatigue involved, but then there's like less fatigue means higher skill, which usually means like better plays and better defense, better offense on both sides.
Yeah.
Because usually with fatigue, you see lackluster shots or shots missed, etc. Where if you reduce the fatigue, you're going to have people playing at their best.
Yeah.
So that could be a way to do it too. But I think you need a reward for each team.
There has to be.
There has to be. They're not going to just go out there, play for no reward, and ruin their season in the NBA to potentially win the championship of the NBA and make a lot of money, because or legacy. That's where that's kind of going towards, to get injured in a game that has no monetary value or legacy value.
Agreed.
Yeah. So USA versus World, was it like super successul?
It was better than before.
Yeah, I'd say it's better than before, but still mediocre.
Yeah.
It's still not there.
I don't know if they'll do it again, but...
Like the Four Nations Cup was unreal for hockey. Like All-Star game went away.
It's the best thing that they could have done.
Best four nations, so it's like Canada, USA, it's like whenever you Canada versus USA, you're gonna, who's not into that? Come on. Yeah. And then hockey players are generally like, I want to like fight for my country. Yeah. They're kind of like super proud of that, so they're fighting for their pride. So it's like, when you do USA versus World, the World guys and USA guys aren't really gonna fight for that because there's not really a legacy there that's like the Olympics was.
Yeah.
And then, because the Olympics is like, dude, you're fighting for that championship for the Olympics. It's not, for one game or whatever. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily matter. It's like the tournament for the Olympics for gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a little different. But, yeah, I think it's a little better, but it still needs some work. There's definitely some better things that they can do.
Yeah, they keep trying. I'll give them that. Some of the stuff doesn't work. It's a flop, but... they at least care that it does. They acknowledge that it doesn't work, and they're trying to find a solution, and it takes time. But
yeah,
the quicker they get it done, the better.
Yeah, I think the easiest one, like you said, low-hanging fruit, just bring the best players for three-point contest and dunk contest. Just bring the people that people want the most. Let Steph be a 5-time champion, 10-time champion, and also, I remember they did a WNBA version where they shot against the NBA players to see who would win, and Steph still won just because he's Steph Curry.
Yeah,
because he's insane. But I do think they should bring that back. Why would you not do that?
Yeah, it's something that they can do. It doesn't take a lot of time or effort.
No,
but it's literally just they can add to that weekend, the better.
Yeah, and I think
get rid of this celebrity game.
I think okay, if you have Caitlin Clark versus Steph Curry in a 3-point contest. Even if people don't watch it, they're going to watch clips of that and be like, oh my God, this is sick. Wait, what?
Yeah.
And then they're just going to see, even if they tied or even if Steph Curry wins because he's just that good, because he's just Steph Curry. But like let that happen. Let it play out.
The names on the back of the jerseys are going to draw attention.
Yeah.
It could be a race to baseline with those two, and just because the names will watch it. So put them in a 3-point contest.
Yeah.
They're both great at it. Steph's going to win by 1,000,000, but just do it. And
I think the collab of the WNBA NBA All-Star game, I remember there was like controversy behind that of like the WNBA players want to do their own thing, but I don't see why the combination of the two would be a bad idea. I feel like that'd be a great idea.
Both sides have to want it, and there's only, certain things you can do. They can do like a skills challenge, passing drills and 3-point contests and stuff like that. But
you can never play. Well, you can never integrate the actual game itself.
No.
But I'm thinking like, why not have All-Star Weekend where they just kind of do everything in parallel?
They should.
Like, I feel like that would be awesome.
They should.
Like,
just keep trying things.
Yeah.
Just keep bringing stuff in. Okay, no one watches that. Well, what we'll do next year? Like, just try something else.
Well, I just think it'd be sick if it was like Steph Curry 3-point contest and Caitlin Clark, and then you go to like whoever the next 3-point contest would be for the NBA, say it's Max Christie or whatever, and then you go to like Kelsey Plum for 3-point contest, like just alternating NBA WNBA players. Yeah. Like, I feel like that would bring eyes because you'd be like, okay, well, let's see how the WNBA does.
They can even add stuff. Bring out, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Plum and. Give them a 40-point lead in a 3-point contest against like Dame and Curry and see who wins.
Who wins?
Like, add some pressure to that. They can do so many things, but it just depends if they want to or not.
Yeah, just make it interesting.
Yeah.
Make you bring some eyes to it. But yeah. All right. MVP race. Who's your top candidates? I got 3 in mind, which I think everyone in the world agrees, which is SGA, Joker, and Giannis. Is there any number 4 or number 5 there, or do you think those are the top 3 and that's basically it?
I don't think Giannis is a part of it, just based off the games missed and the whole trade request and where the Bucks are in the standings. I think they're 24-30, 24-31, somewhere around there. They could be. People need to start putting Cade Cunningham in Detroit in those conversations. I don't think he would win it, but he deserves to be there. They're technically have the best record in the league. They're the 1 seed in the East. They were just the worst team almost in NBA history 2 years ago. He needs some respect in there. And Jaylen Brown, I mentioned earlier, the Celtics could have tanked this year, and who would have thought that they would have been the 2 seed in the East right now?
After losing Tatum.
Right. These players, I'm not saying I don't think they'll win, but they need to be in the conversation. Obviously, Shea and Jokic aren't going to go anywhere for the next, 10 years. So
yeah, they're unreal players.
Yeah,
I think if anything, it just depends on how they do in the playoffs too. Because like, what if SGA goes further? Does that mean that he's more of the candidate? Like, how exactly does that voting proceed? Is it regular season only? Is it the whole season? Right?
They say it's regular season only. But when Shea won it last year, they waited until the Thunder and Nuggets series to end, which went 7 games, and gave it to him, I think, before game 1 or 2 of the Western Conference Finals against Minnesota. So they waited.
Right? Like,
the voting was already done. The voting could have happened, and he could have got it in round 1 against the Grizzlies, but they waited because they knew that us and Denver were most likely going to play in that second round, and whoever came out on top had bragging rights. And
yeah,
do I agree with that? I think it's a regular season award, so give it right after, because they do like Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, Coach of the Year. That all happens pretty quickly right when the year ends. So either MVP has to be...
It's interesting, because what if the MVP shows up and shows out in the playoffs also, or like hides, right? Yeah. Like your most valuable player of your NBA like doesn't perform at all in the finals, and mediocre games, averages 10 points and 4 rebounds, and then they just get slaughtered in the NBA finals to the second seed MVP, who dominates in the finals and carries his team to the championship, right? So technically, he would be the most valuable player in the NBA, right?
Yeah. I mean, he's going to win like the finals MVP, the Western or Eastern Conference Finals MVP, so they get awards for that, but they have to make a decision whether it's, going through halfway of the playoffs or if it's just regular season, because last year was crazy. Everyone knew it was down to Jokic and Shea.
Yeah.
But why are you waiting to see who won when you asked the voters to vote before the regular season,
Or before the playoffs started.
Yeah.
Yeah, after the regular season. Yeah.
So, those two are never going to go away. But to mention your list, Giannis, I think just with the injuries and how the Bucks and everything, the drama that happened this year, I think it's one of the deeper runs for MVP this year. I mean, you got Shea, Jokic, Brown, Cunningham, Victor, Wemby. So there's 5 players that, could all deserve it. But if it doesn't reside in Oklahoma City again, what are we doing?
Yeah.
It's Shea. I mean,
and he's just unreal.
He's the best player in the world.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to be MVP in like 5 years coming? Is there any young rooks other than, I feel like Cooper Flagg is up there on that list, but any other young guns you see out there that could take over easily in that MVP race?
I mean, Victor Wembanyama in San Antonio is going to win it quite a few times. I mean, he's just, they call him an alien. I mean, he's you can't guard it. You just can't. I mean, he's got things to work on in his games. He's still young. He's going to improve. So 5 years, I think it's going to be, he's going to be in the top 3 or at least have a mention for it. Cooper looks like he's on the way. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever win one. But a lot of these players that are playing good now are still young. Like Luka hasn't won one yet. Luka Doncic is going to win MVP sometime in his career.
He's really good.
So
I'm surprised he didn't win one at Dallas.
Yeah.
It's just because there's other players that are just a little bit better than him.
Yeah.
But
and
doesn't mean that he wasn't.
Defense
doesn't mean he wasn't absolutely unreal.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he's going to win one. Wemby's going to win one. I mean, Jokic, Shea, Giannis, they're all still going to be, in their mid-30s. They can easily win one.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you think someone like Tyrese Halliburton could win one?
No. He's not. I'm not saying he's not good, but he's not, MVP caliber. He won't do it for a full year, but, his run in the playoffs last year was incredible. Coming off a major injury now throughout his career is going to be tough, but he's always going to be someone that, can give you 20 points or can give you 20 assists,
mm-hmm.
And that's not something that you can average a whole year, but he's going to put up numbers, but just not, compared to what these other players are going to start doing.
Yeah. I feel like Tyrese is, if depending on the year he really has to ball out that year. Because like you said, it's regular season. And during the playoffs, he was nasty.
Yeah.
Until he got the injury, he was nasty. Yeah. So, it's tough. But I feel like he could be a conference finals MVP if he plays the way he did and brings Pacers to, championship caliber game. I feel like he would be the go-to guy for sure.
He got robbed of that last year.
Yeah.
I know it's, the Eastern Conference Finals and it's the MVP, but just the way that he got him there or got that team there,
mm-hmm.
and even, that performance in the Eastern Conference Finals, how did he not win it?
Yeah.
I know it went to Siakam and he had a great series, but I don't know. I think he was more than deserving to get that.
I do too. I mean, he brought back a good joy of watching NBA for me too, because the way he was playing, you kind of were just watching and being like, this is almost old school basketball, but he's just dominating the way he played, and then he did the whole choke thing.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I was loving that.
I mean, he even some of the games that people don't realize of the great games that he had in the playoffs, Game 2 against Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
They got Game 1. You go back into Indiana 1-1, you're more than happy with that. You go and get 2 in Cleveland, who was the best team in the East, and dominating. They went on 17 straight or something throughout the year, and they were down the whole game. They were down 8 with 53 seconds left. Cleveland just hit a 3. The crowd's hyped. He gets a layup. Then they foul. They get it back, and then he starts trading buckets. And then he goes to the line to tie or to go down 1. He misses a free throw, and then he shoots a 3 and wins it. It's just everything that had to go right for Indiana last year went right.
Yeah.
Obviously up until Game 7 in his injury, but you can't write it. Everything just went their way. And you don't see that a lot. And, that was a Cinderella run, and, they had their moment. But I just don't know if they do it again.
Yeah.
But
I mean, everything did went right for Indiana to get into that position. But, I mean, you can also make the argument of, those plays are – they did everything right they needed to do.
They did.
Executed perfectly. I mean – Oh, dude, it was fun to watch.
Yeah.
As a neutral observer of the team, I was rooting for them consistently because I was just like, this is fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
they were a great watch.
Like you said, 53 seconds left, about a minute left. They're down 8, but you're still sitting there thinking in your head, this game ain't over. Not even close. It's like similar to watching the Bears this past year. Is like, yeah, they're down like a touchdown and a half, but this fourth quarter Bears, like,
if everyone's
still
bought in,
you know, like,
these teams can do, you know, a lot of things in a short amount of time.
Yeah,
and that's what it takes. I mean, these players have to be bought in. You have to believe, and you know, you trust your star players, you trust your coaches, and all of that, and then good things happen. It happens in any sport.
Mm-hmm. And when you have a team like what the Bears were doing, with like kind of what Indiana Pacers were doing, what they were growing on, is like, dude, never count yourself out until the hit 0-0. You're still in the game, which was, yeah, that's the exciting NBA we like to watch.
Yeah,
that's what makes it good. All right, this kind of goes back to our first topic of like kind of just losing games, but the structural issues of the NBA with load management and flopping and officiatings. So it's like load management, excessive flopping, poor refereeing, and a focus on revenue over the actual game of basketball. You know, the stricter rules on travel, old school defense, and like, can the league essentially reset culturally with all the new crazy rules, regulations, as well as the crazy speed of the game?
Yeah. I mean, poor officiating and good officiating, however you want to say it, is always going to be a part of the game. Every team has to go through it. Sometimes it's your night, sometimes it's not. But, you know, teams overcome that and, you know, can get through that, you know, on a nightly basis. That's not, you know, anything different. But as far as like the structure of the league, like, I think it's in an okay place. Obviously, we talked about the tanking and everything, but I would say like 20 out of the 30 teams really compete.
Yeah.
Like per year. I mean, it's always going to be different teams, but if you can get 20 out of the 30 teams to buy in and, you know, really push that this could be their year, then you're in a pretty good place. I mean, that's 2/3 of the league.
Yeah. But I feel like that gives you enough to get the fan base going, and like, even if teams are competing for second place in their division, right? Like that's still enough to put them in a playoff contention, and
absolutely.
And, you know, you're putting yourself in a position to maybe make a run.
Yeah.
In terms of refereeing, I think like it's interesting seeing the cultural shift and changes, especially around flagrant fouls. I've personally found this so frustrating when I'm watching an NBA game and like I'll see a player get frustrated at a call and just like clap and be like, come on, man. And then the referee will give them a flagrant foul for like reacting too large or like reacting to the call too large. And I think that's so stupid. I don't understand why that's in the game. If you like complain to the referee and like react crazy and like go up and get in their face, I think, yeah, that can be a flagrant foul, right? But when like a call happens and you go, no, come on, man, and like that's just an instant reaction, and it's like you're not putting any intent towards the referee. You're just frustrated that that's what the call was. Like that you have, you know, you lost the free throw, right? Or you lost the ball, it's turnover, right? Like it's not always like the craziest worst situation, but they're calling these flagrants like, well, those so are soft now.
The ones you're talking about are technicals, so that's only
technicals. Yeah,
one free throw and then flagrants when, you know. But even the flagrant fouls, like I watched the Thunder game last night and they review everything. If a guy gets tapped in the head, they look for, you know, impact, follow through, you know, wind up. Those are the three things that they look for when they review. But now they're starting to review everything.
Yeah.
You know, a guy's driving to the leg and you reach in and I accidentally tap your head, they're going to review it just because it's contact to the head, even though it's, you know, barely anything. And then what you're saying with the technicals, they don't allow players to, I guess, showcase their frustration because they don't want it to look like they're showing them up. But sometimes they have to realize that this is a basketball game, and if a player makes mistakes, they're going to have a reaction because they get paid millions to do this. They practice hours on end, and they have, fans coming to see them. They want to perform well, and they lose the ball out of bounds and they clap, and you're giving them a technical for that. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's crazy. Another one that I saw was like the guy threw the ball back at the referee, and he like turned it through it, and then he's like, "Oh, watch out!" Like, because the referee like turned away, and then the ball hit him on the back, and then he's like, "Oh, sorry," and then he like grabbed the ball, gave it to him, and he gave him a technical foul.
Yeah. For
like throwing the ball at the referee.
Yeah, it's like they just hand them out. They hand them out like crazy. Some players have a reputation of getting them. You're going to have Dylan Brooks and Draymond Green and some of these players that they just get them because of their name, and it's a little bit quicker of a leash, for some of these players, but they can do without most of them. Like I've seen some pretty soft ones.
Yeah, and it's like the one, like the clapping one, just blows my mind, man. Like it's just like it's why
the one that I don't get is like, and I get that it's kind of like it delays the game, but if a player gets called for a foul and they have the ball and you just bounce it and you're just like, and if
like they get a foul and they're like, and they bounce it like back to themselves.
If it goes over the referee, if it goes over your head, it's a technical foul.
Yeah, like they go and they put it over their head.
No, so if you bounce the ball and the ball bounces back up and it goes over your head, it's a technical foul. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. If it bounces over your head, it's an automatic technical foul. So you got someone that's 6'3", but like Victor Wembanyama, he bounces it, it's going 7 feet in the air. Like,
so is it above Chris Paul's head?
Right.
Is it above?
So that's just like, what are we doing?
I should still think it's like if someone's like really reacting and getting in the referee's face, yeah, sure, call technical foul. But it's like the one bounce, like getting frustrated, calling technical foul on that. It's like you're trying to make these human NBA players not human by like making them robots, by being like, you can't interact with anybody. You can't have emotions at all. It's like the emotions is why we watch the game and why we love the game, is like the emotions of winning, the emotions of losing and how awful that is. And like, the emotions of the game, going through the game. Like that's why betting is so big. It's because like the emotions of betting and watching a game, the thrill of it. It's like now you're just taking all that away and just giving technical fouls for someone bouncing a ball over their head. It makes zero sense.
And some of the same refs will get told the same thing from another player and won't give them a T. But then depends who it's coming from. I could say the same thing and get one, but you're not going to. So they have to find like what is a technical foul?
Yeah.
What is it? Like, are we having a set? This is what it is, and anything else is okay, or are there branches to what you can and cannot do? They gotta figure it out, because I know you get like fined a certain amount of money that's coming out of these players' paychecks, which is pocket change to them. But,
yeah, right.
I don't want to
$5 grand foul. They're like, I make $10 million a year.
Right. I don't want to watch a game where everything's being reviewed for flagrant or giving out technical fouls for anything. Like a little push and shove. Like let them. These guys are competing. I mean, just because you give a guy open fist or hit him, like sure, go review it. But a little push and I push you back. Like, come on, play ball. Like that's what they want to do. They want to get to the game right away, and then you're going to the monitor and delaying it because they're looking at it. It's just like.
Yeah, and I think like these are supposed to be the best athletes in the world, and you have the best athletes competing at the highest level, exerting all of their energy to potentially have a chance to win a game. Like, you're going to have interactions where people are going to get tired and emotions will flare up, and because like they're giving it their all. Like you can't, like us sitting here in this room right now, we're super calm and we're relaxed. We can make rational decisions. We're not going to flare up if, say if I was like, oh, OKC's not that good. You're not going to sit here and be like, dude, what the? Like, you're not going to be like going crazy. But if we're like, after like sprinting up and down for 24 minutes, going back and forth, building up tension, fighting back and forth, like one call bad happens and it frustrates you, like you're going to let it out a little bit. Yeah. There's a bounce on the floor over your head or whatever. Like, right. Things happen. You can't be human and sit there and have no actual emotional reactions to anything.
Yeah. Sometimes they lose control of the game.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know how the referees can handle that and be like, yeah, this
sometimes
is
they
correct.
don't. I mean, they just...
Yeah. And then, because this, and I had to talk about Christian with this as well, with NHL, was like, so in terms of like officiating, sometimes they'll like, with playoff hockey is the kind of example he gave. It's like with playoff hockey, they'll typically let more things go because it gets more aggressive. And they like people are like, oh, playoff hockey's intense. Like, so like if someone hits somebody with their stick more, they'll kind of let that go. But Christian made the argument of like, dude, no, a foul is a foul. A penalty is a penalty. Like, you got to call it regardless of the situation. And I feel like that happens in basketball a lot too. Is like
they definitely up the intensity.
In the playoffs, it's kind of like let a little bit more go, let a little bit more have.
That's a big reason why we won last year.
Yeah.
I mean, our defense was physical. A lot of these star players don't like, getting grabbed, and we're very handsy. We go for a lot of steals, but in the playoffs, our big thing was how many times can they call it? So if you do the same thing, from the same player 6 times, they're not going to call it all 6 times and get this player, fouled out of the game. Yeah. They're only going to call it twice, maybe 3 times, and you're going to get away with it. So they definitely let more things go, and that's how it should be. I mean, that's playoffs, so I disagree with him on that aspect, on that a little bit. It's a different intensity. Players play harder in the playoffs, which I think he made the case for. That's, kind of cause and effect of, playing harder. It's going to be, a little bit more physical. So I'm glad that they do kind of, have a longer leash onto what you can and cannot do in the playoffs in any sport.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just basketball, not just hockey.
Yeah. Because in the end, you do want the best players on the court. And, like, obviously, if someone's hacking at people's arms and creating obvious, easy call fouls, like, you can't be that dumb and get into foul trouble because you're interacting and doing things that are definitely impacting the game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, those small ones, like a little more handsy on the steals or a little bit more of a reach that you'd call basically in any mid-season, regular season game, it's a little bit different in the playoffs because it's like the intensity's there. The high level is there. You're looking for the obvious big slappers and the obvious easy calls, not like the small, super small hand checks or that kind of jazz. And
they got to let it go both ways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. One does one, then you can't just go around and be like, well, I'm calling it now because he did it over there and let it go, but I'm calling it now on you guys. It's like, no, that's not. I am a big believer in consistency on calls. And then making the same calls for both sides makes it so easy.
That's all a lot of fans ask for.
Yeah.
You call something both sides. If there's a bad foul call on one team, have that same call for the other. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you to make it, 50 to 50 free throws. I don't want to watch, something like that. But, just call it both ways. And you miss this one, okay, we'll just keep an eye out for the next one and just keep it going.
Yeah, right. I agree. I think the best way you can tell if a referee's impacting the game poorly is whether or not the post game is all about the referees or if the post game is about like different plays or made shots or missed shots or like, that kind of stuff. Because like, for instance, Tyrese Halliburton talked about the one free throw and the free throw off to shoot the 3-pointer, right? You're not mentioning the referee calling that and being like, that wasn't the right call. You're mentioning the play that they made to win the game. So I think that evaluates it as well. And I feel like the NBA does a pretty good job at that kind of stuff. So,
it's improving.
Yeah, it's getting there. All right, late game goats. Game on the line. Right? You're down by 4, 2 minutes left. Who's your go-to out of all players right now to win the game? 2 minutes left.
Current players?
Current players.
I'm always going to put Shea in there. I mean, a lot of these games when he has a ball, I live and die by, what he does, and most of the time we come out victorious. So, but if I don't say him, I think Kawhi, when he plays, is extremely clutch. I mean, I don't know if you saw that game winner he had in the playoffs against the Sixers when he was on Toronto and it bounced on the rim like 4 times. Like he's always had that, kind of in him where he can do that. And then Damian Lillard. I mean, I saw it firsthand. That was on my birthday when he hit that shot and sent OKC home.
Really?
That was on my birthday, and you just tip your cap to him. Like,
yeah,
he's done that his whole career.
That was from like the logo, basically.
Yeah, I mean, he's extremely clutch. I mean, a lot of these guys, they rise up for moments, like Halliburton.
Yeah,
extremely clutch. But if I had to pick one, and not picking Shea just because I'm a Thunder fan, I gotta go Kawhi.
Kawhi, yeah, he's just that guy.
Yeah.
All right, so now if you had everyone throughout the whole NBA, of all NBA players in their prime, who's your go-to?
Gotta say Jordan.
Jordan.
You have to, but if I don't pick him, I know Kobe missed the most shots in NBA history, but when the game was on the line, you go to Kobe.
Yeah.
Kyrie, I mean, that shot against Golden State when he was in Cleveland.
Yeah.
That's arguably the clutchest shot,
That right side step.
Yeah.
And he just kind of like brought it across. Yeah.
It'd be, disrespectful not to mention him.
Mm-hmm.
But.
No mention of Steph Curry, though.
They were putting teams away before it even got to the clutch. you know what I'm saying?
So true. Yeah.
I mean, he was putting them away. His clutch shots were coming in the first half.
Yeah. Like he's just burying like 7 threes.
That 25 to 28 to 31 point lead, that was the clutch shots for him. But
yeah,
he's another great shooter.
My argument against that is the Olympics, though, because that Olympics against France was some electric basketball.
Dude, the threes he was hitting is just like...
My favorite part about Steph Curry in that whole thing was, well, first of all, they were down.
Yeah.
That's what made it like more electric. Was they were not winning.
There was never a doubt, though.
But there was never a doubt. I just sat there and watched Steph Curry make a three, and I'm like, he's going to make the next one. When is he going to miss is really the question. And the one where he like throws the ball in, gets it back, is double teamed, takes like a step back and like throws it over two guys. And you just see KD with his hands up. You see LeBron with his hands up. And you're like, and Steph Curry's taking a double team shot, leaning fadeaway back over two players.
Hit him with the night right after.
And just bang. And KD and LeBron were like, they're like, yo, what is this kid?
Yeah. He's another great mention. I mean, there's so many clutch players. I mean, even Dirk.
Dirk, yeah.
That we talked about earlier. There's these players that rise for it, like, Jamal Murray has been doing it. He's a kind of a sleeper.
Yeah.
I know this year he hasn't been as clutch. He missed a couple free throws to like send the game to overtime and everything, but he had the game winner over AD in the playoffs a couple years ago. Like, he's been doing that pretty much his whole career. So
yeah, I'd probably say Jordan for myself.
Yeah,
I think it's just, I mean, if you're talking prime Jordan, like he's going to do whatever he can do to get that basket up and put it in.
Yeah.
Like
and LeBron also has had so many game winners in the playoffs. He's actually shooting at a higher percentage of game winners than Jordan, but I still think you take Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, one shot. My life on the line, I need a game winner, one shot.
Yeah.
I think we're both picking Jordan, living with the results. So
yeah. Like,
we're meeting for dinner after because we're both going to be there. So,
yeah.
You have to. But I was just trying to go like a more, not obvious answer. And I think some of those players,
I still think it's an obvious answer, though.
Yeah.
I still think Jordan's an obvious answer.
Yeah.
I just think it's like the amount of clutch plays and shots he's made. I mean, even North Carolina final, like they went to him. I mean, all the finals, they're going to him. That's the shot.
When the whole world knows it's coming and you still perform, that's when you have it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they're drawing up a play and, we got taken by surprise. They knew it was coming and you just still
There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing you can do about it. All right, do you think your boy, SGA, is repeating this year for OKC back-to-back, first time since 2018?
I do. I think we need to get healthy. We started the year 24-1, and since then, we've just been decimated by injuries. He's been injured. J-Dub's been injured. AJ Mitchell's been injured. So our three ball handlers have been pretty much out for a majority of time. We have to get healthy in the playoffs. If we don't get healthy, we won't repeat. Denver's too good. Minnesota, seems like they're always in the Western Conference Finals. They're a good team. There's too much talent to overcome that, but if we get healthy in April, I don't fear anyone. I don't think a team can beat us 4 out of 7 times. They might. I mean, we went to Game 7 twice in the playoffs last year, but I just don't see it. Especially if we get home court. Like, Shea's not losing in his house in a Game 7. It's just not going to happen. Like, so if we can just maintain home court and get home court and get healthy, I like our odds. I mean, I think it might be against Boston, depending if Tatum comes back, or maybe the Knicks. I think Detroit's too young, and I think their head coach is more of a regular season head coach that was kind of developing these guys, which he did his role and got him the 1 seed. But
right.
I don't think he's going to do great in the playoffs. He didn't with Cleveland. He fell short with that, so I like our odds. I mean,
who's the sleeper pick this year for a championship?
Sleeper?
Who do you think can make a run that no one's really thinking of right now?
I know they've been hot lately, but I would say, before the last couple of weeks, no one really gave Cleveland a shot. I think Cleveland has a shot. I mean, they got James Harden. They had a couple guys step up this year. Mobley's getting healthy. Jared Allen's playing better. Mitchell's, an all-star. So they have talent there. Again, they're in the East. You get, to avoid, Knicks for a couple rounds or Boston for a couple rounds, and you only have to play them in the Eastern Conference Finals. They can make a run.
Yeah.
But
which route do you think is easier, East or West?
East
by far.
The West is a bloodbath. I mean, just getting through the West, like, if the season ended today, like our route, we would have to go through Curry and the Warriors, which they're not what they once were. But
it's still Steph Curry.
Then you got the Nuggets in the second round, or
yeah.
I don't know if they took back the 3 seed last night, but before last night, the Nuggets were the 4 seed, so it's a bracket. So you already know who you play.
Yeah.
It's not like it interchanges off seeding once a team loses or wins, but we would have the Warriors, Nuggets, and then you would have like the Spurs, who are the 2 seed. That's a tough route.
That is a very tough route.
I mean,
and then right after that, you got to go against like a Boston.
Right.
Like,
but in the East, you go against, we're going against like Charlotte and then Toronto and then Boston. You really only have that one test late, but the West is just a bloodbath. It always has been. I mean, it's just these teams.
Super strong.
Yeah. But like when we talked about earlier, like the Timberwolves going to the East, if that expansion happened, like they're going to come to the finals like for 5 straight years just because they're playing. Yeah. They're going from the West to the East. Like they would run the East for, 4 or 5 years, but it's tough. I mean, any team can win it. I got mine last year. I'm good. I mean, I want to keep going and get more and more and more. I got a little greedy in that way. I still want this year, but I always just wanted one in my lifetime, and I got that. So
yeah,
I'm content.
It's not easy to win that. It's like the 2016 Cubs. Like everyone was like, I just want one.
Yeah,
and it's like it hasn't happened in years, and everyone was like 2016, this is the year.
And the biggest misconception in sports. And this is for any sport. When you get there, you have to take advantage of the opportunity that you have. There's no promises that you're coming back next year. So whether, Indiana was like, oh, well, we went to a Game 7, like, we'll be back. Well, Halliburton got injured. What are you going to be like when Siakam's another year older? Like, how is Zubac going to fit in after the trade deadline? There's no guarantees you'll ever be back. Like, Boston thought they were going to be in the Eastern conference finals and go to the finals for however many straight years, and they only went twice in like a 4-year span. So I know you're a Bears fan. Everyone's like, oh well, we made it that far. Like there's always next year. You don't know that.
Yeah,
like Commanders just won all those 1-score games a year before, and I know Jane Daniels got injured, but they weren't good. Like there's no way that you can know you're going to be back. So when you get there, you have to make the most of that opportunity that year. You have to. And you can make all the excuses, oh, a team's young, or we don't have the experience, or that play didn't go our way. You got to find a way.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest misconception I think in all sports.
Yeah, I mean, for the NFL, for the Bears, I mean, they had such a great year. Like they could have went and they could have won it all. I mean, if you look at the final, Like, you look at the Super Bowl. I mean, I see the Bears beating the Patriots by a mile.
They would have never got through Seattle. I think this was just
Seattle's
Seattle year, and just in the
But they beat Seattle.
I know, but in the playoffs,
I think they could have done it.
In Lumen with the 12th man. No. Should they have won the Rams game? I think they definitely played good enough to win that game against the Rams. But it was just Seattle's here. I don't think there was...
I think if they got to Seattle, whoever won that game won the Super Bowl.
Agreed.
Like, if the Bears won and beat Seattle, they're winning the Super Bowl. Like, hands down. It's just like the Patriots just were not it.
For pretty much the whole year, the NFC was a little bit stronger this year. Usually it's the AFC, but the NFC was just...
They were lights out.
Yeah. There was just a lot of strong teams in the NFC, and it was very top-heavy. Everyone still feared the Rams, like they with Stafford, and obviously Seattle had a great year, Chicago had a great year, but even some of these lower teams, like they were there. I mean, they didn't really have a chance. Like Carolina almost knocked off the Rams in round one. Like no one thought about that, even though it was in Carolina. That line was like, I want to say it was like 10.5 or 11.5, and they won by like 3 or something. Like,
it was a close game. It was not that far away.
Right. So,
Bryce Young was doing a good job down there.
So the NFC was just stronger, like top to bottom this year, and we'll see what happens next year. But
I hope we have. I just, whatever happens next year, I hope we have a better Super Bowl, because it was so uneventful, very plain. It there was just no energy. Like the Bears games, like even the Bears-Packers game this year was like, if that was our Super Bowl, like I could care less if it was Bears-Packers Super Bowl. If that was how the Super Bowl game played out, whatever it was Patriots, Rams, like whoever was actually in the Super Bowl, if that's how it was out, that would be so much of a better game to watch than what the Super Bowl was, because it was just
two heavy defensive teams. Both teams, playing defense. I thought New England, kind of started off strong. I want to say they gave up 3 on the first drive, and then, they shut them down for pretty much, quarter and a half.
Yeah.
Their offense couldn't do anything, but everyone wants to see offense. You want to see... You're a Bears fan. I'm sure you love seeing Caleb Williams throw, deep.
Crazy deep.
You know what I'm saying? That's what NFL fans want to see.
Yeah.
So, when it's defense and run, pass, and now you're punting.
Yeah.
That's not what a typical Super Bowl watcher, because I don't know if they watch 18 weeks of football leading up to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So they want to see that high firepower offense.
At least just something.
Right.
Like, it just felt like it was so, ugh.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we get something a little better than that. But, we'll see. All right. I basically got everything covered here, dude. Do you have anything else you want to bring up or talk about in NBA?
I don't think so. I'm just, we're about 2 months away from playoffs, and hopefully we repeat. But I think there's a lot of teams that have an opportunity to do something this year that, didn't last year.
Yeah.
Detroit, I know we talked about that. Charlotte's been playing well. So, very heavy trade deadline this year. So a lot of new faces on a lot of new teams, and, we'll see what happens.
I got a good question for you.
Yeah.
If you could change one rule in the NBA, is question number 1. What rule would you change? And also, if you can add a rule in the NBA, what rule would you add? So what's a rule that you would want to change in the NBA?
Rule that I would want to change?
Because there's a lot of rules in soccer that I want to change. One of the rules in soccer, just give you some thought, is that when goal kicks happen, typically goalkeepers put the ball down and they wait for forever. 5, 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and they're like, oh my God, okay, kick the ball. Referee goes, hey, come on, play. And then they eventually, after 15, 20 seconds, kicks the ball, and they're wasting so much time.
Yeah.
And they get a yellow card for caution. But instead, the rule change that I think would be good, and I think a couple of professional soccer players have said this too, is instead, after whatever seconds it takes, you give them a yellow card, and then the ball turns into now a corner instead of a goal kick. So you turn the ball over to the other team, essentially, because you took too long. And same with throw-ins as well. Like, instead of, like, telling them wasting time, yellow card, you just turn the ball the other way, and the other team gets the ball.
Oh, wow.
So, like, I think that could make things in the game a lot faster. And that, because there's, like, a stat in soccer. It's, like, only 50 minutes of actual game time is played. The rest of it is just, like, out of bounds or free kicks or set pieces and stuff like that. So
I guess the rule change that I would want to change doesn't necessarily, like, involve the game. But I would like to see the NBA do something with the divisions. So obviously there's a Western and Eastern Conference, conference, but the divisions, like the Thunder with, Jazz, Portland, Minnesota, Denver, but that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
So we play those guys 4 times a year, and then, there's a few Western Conference teams that we only play 3 times a year, but, have that mean something, whether it's, it doesn't. Like
a wild card spot or something?
Yeah.
Because that's what it is in the NFL.
It doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, when you have, like, a tiebreaker, like, if us and San Antonio were tied for, like, 1 and 2, like, it's going to go to conference record, then it's going to go to, these other tiebreakers before division. The division doesn't really mean anything. So I would want to see that either eliminated or, have those division games mean something. Maybe make those, like, the NBA Cup games. So every year when they do that in-season tournament, make that the NBA Cup game where you're playing your division, and then, like, give that team, like, a 2-game lead in that division or something, like, for future when the playoffs happen. Something like that. I don't know how they would ever do that, but...
Yeah, I could see that. Almost... Well, I think you could do the Cup games division-based, too.
Yeah, that's what...
Like, you could do, like, first place in each division goes to the Cup.
Yeah.
Like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like the 2 and 3 seed play a play-in game to versus the 1 seed in your division, and then your division plays other divisions in order to get to the championship.
Yeah, the divisions just don't really mean anything in the NBA. It's all by conference, so either eliminate it.
It sounds like it's literally just you just play those guys one more time in your schedule.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and
nothing else.
Yeah, so do something about it. I would say that's the one thing that, I would want to change, because I think the game is in a good place. Like, there's little things that you can nitpick. Like, I don't want to watch Giannis take 10 seconds to shoot a free throw.
Yeah.
Like, you can, if you want
to talk... Well, they changed that in the MLB.
Yeah. Like
the pitch clock?
Right.
So, I mean, that's a big change in MLB.
I don't want to watch that, but that's really only one player. Like, you're not going to make a rule change for that, so,
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's 15 seconds, right?
10.
10 seconds?
Yeah.
No, what's the maximum amount of time for free throws?
10.
Oh, it is?
So once you get to 10, you either shoot it or you lose it.
Okay. Yeah. Good to know. And he takes like 9 seconds.
I've seen him take like 11, 12 without anything being called.
Without it being called. So they could be just actually enforce their rules of the game.
Yeah.
Laws of the game.
Because I mean, I try to go to, cities around here when the Thunder come, Chicago, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Detroit. But, man, I've seen a lot of Giannis free throws, and I'm like...
Dude.
I'm sitting in the stadium. Sometimes I'll sit by the Thunder bench, and even they're, like, laughing about it, because it's just like, this guy's, you had him in the MVP race, and he's taken 10 seconds to shoot a free throw. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But
and he says there's...
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, so, all credit to him, but... That's just me nitpicking things. There's nothing that needs like a major change, but hopefully that All-Star stuff happens, that expansion, there's a lot of different things that are coming up in the NBA that should be exciting for, old fans, new fans, people that want to get back in the game, stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm glad they let like a lot of the NBA players come back for the Olympics, past Olympics. I think that was such a benefit of the game. Like, even though it's not directly tied to the NBA, like, allowing all those NBA players to come back, be able to fight for that gold medal was something very
Otherwise, you're just going to have,
like,
watch. Chumps out there that,
Yeah. Well, I mean, not even chumps, just, like, why not send the best?
Yeah.
Why, like, like that one time that the NBA sent a couple of mediocre players, didn't send their best, sent some decent like role players, some really good players for sure, but then they lost.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like,
"Send out."
Hey, USA lost. Like they got upset.
Yeah.
I forget what tournament was that.
That was
I forget what tournament. It wasn't Olympics.
No.
It was before the Olympics.
Oh, man.
It was some tournament.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank right now. I know what you're talking about.
The Worlds?
Yeah.
World tournament or whatever?
Yeah, when they lost
to like, who was it? It wasn't Slovakia. No, it was
No, who was it? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. But I know what
it
you're
was
talking
some
about.
like Eastern European team.
Yeah.
My guess is that it was like Serbia.
It could have been.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was like the USA is falling off. Like they're not good at basketball anymore. And then you have Noah Lyles that pulls up and Noah Lyles goes, "You know what I hate? I hate when the NBA says they got world champion on their head." Yeah. World champion of what? And then that just like triggered an entire chain reaction to get every single one of the best NBA players, and maybe not even arguably the best, just like the most pronounced names of the NBA. Like you could have picked somebody else in that, like, you know, but that's the best USA had to offer, the biggest names.
Yeah. And
that was some spectacular basketball to watch.
Like we kind of said earlier when we were talking about the All-Star weekend. Obviously, the USA has, you know, they can put out 15 to 20 players that are great. But if they just had one world team, the world would wipe them. The world would wipe them.
Yeah.
But I mean, when all these players are going to different teams because they're from different countries, like Luka and Shea aren't playing together, Shea and Jokic, because they're obviously Canada and, you know, Giannis and Greece and all that. But if they just combine the world, I think that would be, that's what we kind of talk, like that's what I want to see.
Yeah. But like actual competition.
Right.
That has some monetary value.
Yes.
And not
just one game.
Almost like post NBA season. Like, because that way you're not like
just
getting injured or something like that. Like,
I mean, then you would have a whole off season if you have a tight hammy or, you know, that's something that you can recover from. Obviously, the All-Star, you only have like about a week, so, you know, you don't want to get anything right before the playoffs, but, man, they can just do so much.
Yeah, it would be a really good game to watch.
Yeah, they can just do so much, but hopefully they take advantage of that soon, and, you know.
We'll see some good OKC Thunder championship maybe this year. Yeah. You think the Bulls ever have a chance to get the playoffs soon?
I think they're finally doing it right now. They waited a little bit too long to do what they're doing, you know.
Actually making moves for players and trading up.
I mean, they could have got a first-round pick for Kobe White maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But now you quite didn't get that value, and I think they just kind of – I mean, they've held on to players too long for a long time. I mean, even Levine and DeRozan and, you know, but they're doing it right now. I mean, you got to hit on these draft picks, and obviously it kind of hurts them now where you can't pick in the top four twice in a row. But you can still find talent out there, and I think, you know, Modest, Buzelis is good. I still like Giddey. They got some young players over there, but it's going to take time. I mean, you have to understand they finally just went through the process that fans were, you know, calling for years ago. So they're in the fans' mind, you know, this should have been happening, you know, 2020, 2021. But they just got to be patient. And I know they've been patient a long time, but maybe it happens. I mean, they've been in the play-in.
Who's like the number one all-star for the Bulls? Right? I mean, who's your...
I mean, I like Giddey. You know, he distributes the ball. He can rebound. He can score. But I think their star is Modest Buzelis right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they're still like kind of missing that though.
Yeah, they don't have anyone that can go and give them 30 a night and get them a win whenever they want. They don't have that.
Right. They don't have like a big name out there that's like actually performing well.
Right. So to expect that, it's kind of not in the reality of it, but they can find one. I mean, they were a coin flip away last year from getting Cooper Flagg.
Right.
That's all it was.
Yeah. And imagine Cooper Flagg in a Bulls jersey.
There's your 30 points a night, and, you know, now there's hope in Chicago.
But then again, who's mentoring him?
At that point, you just take the player. I mean,
you know what I mean?
You bring someone in, like, you do everything you can. So, you know, hopefully they can do something. Right. I mean,
that's why I do think that Cooper Flagg is really benefiting from being in Dallas because of Kyrie.
Yeah. And
I really do.
They can bring in a veteran and, you know, kind of get that ship rolling, but they did just lose a lot of their guys that fans loved. Io Dosunmu and Kobe White and Vucevic, and they're going through like a whole like overhaul of a team right now. So
yeah,
it's going to take some time, but in 10 years, we'll see if it pays off.
Maybe they can get a lottery.
Yeah,
we'll see. Yeah, dude, appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
dude,
thank you for having me.
This was a blast.
It's a long time coming.
Hopefully, by the time people watch this, they understand how much of an OKC fan you are, and they congratulate you in the second win.
Yep. Should I show them the tats or no?
Sure. Yeah.
You got that.
Oh, that is sick.
Yeah. So
you have one on your shoulder, and the outside that's colored.
Yeah, I got the logo.
Thunder up,
and then I got OKC
right here.
Yeah.
That is sweet.
So hopefully we get it done. Back to back sounds nice.
You gonna get a tattoo if you get back to back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do something on my leg. I'm cooking it up.
I like it.
I'm working on it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get 2 championship.
That'd be nice.
Cups on the leg.
Yep. I can die a happy man.
Life fulfilled. Thank you, OKC Thunder.
Yep.
Beautiful. Awesome. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah,
dude.
thank you for having me, bro.